Yay. Oh, here we are.
Hello and good afternoon. We are live with our very first interview for our emergency online summit for the wedding industry to try and tackle COVID-19, the coronavirus, whatever you want to call this ugly thing that is completely and utterly messing with our lives right now. So this is the first of an entire week's worth of interviews that I've put together as the Wedding Academy with some of the top professionals in the world who have all got experience in different fields. I know we've received a lot of questions from people who are confused, they're not sure what to do, they're asking all different questions to do with contracts, legalities, what should they be doing now, how is their business going to survive? And I like to think I'm the font of all knowledge, but in reality, I'm not. I do need to pull in the experts, especially with anything to do with legality. And tomorrow, I have a legal expert coming on to answer anything and everything to do with contracts and that type of thing. She'll be talking about force majeure and all that funky stuff that I daren't talk about. But today, I have got the wonderful Meghan Eli on with me, who is from OFD Consulting. And I really have to thank Meghan, because when I came up with this idea about how we could help the wedding industry in our own way, she literally dropped everything. And the two of us have been frantically, haven't we, for the last 48 hours putting this thing together. So thank you very much. I couldn't have done this without you. So Meghan, obviously, you are a PR guru. That is what you do. You have been in the wedding and event industry for a long, long time. So there isn't much you don't know about PR. And you happen to be my PR consultant as well. So you look after me and you look after the academy. So obviously, there are questions around what we can do with regards to PR during this time and how we're going to make it work for ourselves. So I think my first question is really around how does PR play a role within COVID-19 as an actual crisis?
Sure. Thank you so much. And Kylie, thank you for having me. I joke that we're the two of us. We've known each other so long, we can just pull these things together without many words between us. So I'm grateful to know you and to be here and helping today. So it's not lost on me that all of this is hitting us, and we are focused on things that you'll be talking about later, Kylie, cash flow and communication and the legalities, and all of those have a very important place right now. And there are only 24 hours in a day. And believe me when I say I'm trying to fix that and add some more hours in there. But but for all of us, but the fact of the matter is public relations it's a must have right now. It's not something that, well, if I get time to do it, it's an actual must have. And I don't mean it in the way of hiring a publicist. My goal today and chatting with your wonderful group, and for those listening in the recording, is the fact that these are all things you can be doing yourself. Like, this is all you can do in yourself. So the way PR is this, and if you'll allow me just a second to explain public relations. So public relations, of course, is when you have a message that you're trying to get out to your intended publics. For our purposes right now, we're trying to get in touch with, of course, engaged couples, panicked couples, the industry. We're trying to get out to the general public because, of course, right now, so many businesses are being affected, right? Hi, Hope. So many businesses are being affected right now. And we have to make sure people understand that the wedding and special event industry is also one of those folks. So those are our messages, right? And PR is when you use the media at large with no exchange of money, which is different than advertising, to get the word out. But from a business standpoint as well, PR, I always say in a very general sense, advertising says, I'm great. PR is when somebody else says that you're great. And so in this sort of instance, with the life we're living right now, it's somebody else seeing you as that expert, because the fact of oh, hey, Simone, hello from Italy. We're thinking of you. Sorry, I'm going to do that a lot, Kylie, probably.
No,
I just can't. But so when it comes to, it's not only getting the word out for the coronavirus and letting people know, postpone, don't cancel. Y'all repeat after me. Postpone, don't cancel. You want to get those messages out, but it's also, if I may think with the business brain, there will be life after this, right? I have to have hope. I'm in the business of hope. So what I'm saying to people too is keep in mind too, that when things get better, and this is something I want to credit Christy Osborne, who'll be on later at another part of the summit. But the fact is, you want to be at a point where everyone's turning to you. You're the expert. You're leveraging your expertise. So when the time gets good again, they come to you first. You're top of mind, So it's twofold. it's diffusing the panic. It's letting people know that we're going to be here, but it's also from, the other aspect here is being top of mind, because here's the thing, Kylie, and I know you know this because you and I've been around it's not our first day, right, in the wedding industry. And what we
sound ancient.
I know, stop. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Facebook user from Rome. It doesn't say who it is, so it just says Facebook user. And so you and I both know that when the economy has its ups and downs, we do see a wealth of people coming into the industry, right? Like you just see there are layoffs, people come in, and a lot of them come and succeed, which is great. But there is going to be this deluge of people who join our industry. And for better or for worse, there's some pros and cons to that. But one of the things is we've become very saturated. And so it's important that, if you need to find your foothold here and use PR to do that.
Yeah, definitely. So when you're thinking about how you're going to be pitching, what questions should you really be asking yourself when it comes down to how you're going to pitch yourself from a PR standpoint, and how you're going to be putting yourself out there?
Absolutely. So there's a few things you want to ask yourself. First of all, it goes back to your goals. Even in this time of a little bit of panic, maybe a lot, but in a time of, challenge here, you still have to think about your business goals. So if you were going to add this to your list, the question is, why in the world am I doing it in the first place? Like how does this achieve? Because if someone is really having a hard time budgeting with everything going on, that frankly needs to be their priority. Go talk to Michelle Loretta, who will be on here in a few days. But in the meantime, but if PR is going to help you and you're like, you know what, my goal is to tell people, like, I want to share my expertise so they can look to me as an industry expert. For SEO purposes, I hate to say it at a time like this, but I want to get quoted in a bunch of places so I have all those delicious links coming back to my site. I might have a goal that I want to be the port in the storm for my fellow wedding professionals. So you need to get into your goals here, because as in Kylie, you've shared too, is your goals are what are going to guide you with your business and help you from saying no to the other things that are not helping you towards your goals. And because at this time, I myself too, I'm saying yes to everything, but I still in the back of my mind make sure I think, okay, is this heading me in the direction for myself and my clients? So that's one. Number two, hi, Nancy from Kenya. My goodness. And Kelly as well. Gosh, there are people all over the world here. That's so humbling.
That's great.
I know, it's amazing. Hey guys. Oh, hey, Sylvia from, we've got some US folks as well. So, but the biggest thing, guys, and I need you to remember 100%, is that I need you to think about your messaging. What is your messaging going up? Because right now, I likened it a couple days ago. I was talking to a well-meaning mom who is a part of our elementary school, and I'm helping with some activities. And she wanted to stretch an initiative I had and double it every day. Like, here I'm trying to be a publicist to the world and do that. And I said to her, listen, I have to explain my job. You don't need to know anything about me, but you need to know it's like I'm putting a dumpster fire out with an eyedropper right now. That's what I'm doing. So no, I can't double the mystery reader time for elementary school. I have to focus on this. Now, that's how I'm feeling on the inside. It doesn't mean I'm panicked. It just means there's a lot going on right now. But even though that's the truth, it's not productive. That's not productive to share with the media right now. No one's going to learn from that. That's not a message it's a message I feel on my insides and I can share with you guys in kind of our safe. Oh, hey, Clementine. Oh my goodness. One of my email buddies, so what you want to do instead of, and yes, you can say it, but you need to think of what your message is going to be that's going to be productive for the readers of these blogs and publications. Okay. So yes, you can feel how you feel. You're welcome to, but if your goal in your local area is to make sure that, yes, we know the restaurants are struggling, the movie theaters, but you want to make sure you get word out that you too are taking the right measures and special events and weddings. If that's the message you want to get, fine. If you want your message to be postponement, not canceling, then that needs to be your message. I was just, Kylie, as you can imagine, I have been talking with, and not to name drop, but all sorts of major media outlets. And I had a great talk with CNN a couple of days ago on the phone. And she started talking cancellations. And I said, no, we need to change the conversation right now. It is not about cancellations. It is about postponements to later this year. I don't want to indicate in any sort of way that we're expecting a ton of cancellations. Now, obviously, with regards to destination weddings, that's a different, more challenging kind of thing. And I'm not saying that that's not happening, but I'm here as a message of hope. My message is that we are going to get past this. We're all not going to sleep in the fall, in late summer and early somebody said January and February 2021 are the new October.
You know what I love? I can see a new trend coming from this, that all of a sudden, it's going to be trendy to have weddings in January and February. So maybe that's a good tip for the wedding trend report for next year. You know,
on a Wednesday. Exactly, like a Wednesday wedding. Who knew? And so that's my message going forward. And I would absolutely encourage you to think in that sort of manner as well. And then the other message could be, we're going to be okay. We're going to be on the other side of this, but you guys have to determine how that's going to be. And, you know, Zoe brings up about a buzz for quick weddings. Well, listen, if that's in your best interest and you're inefficient and you want your message to be, yeah, we do still have people getting married and it's on the fly, and that's in your interest. That's not in the interest of the caterers, but we can all come at it with our messages. But I would say you need to determine, what are my goals? What are my messages? And if I may add as well, what do I know and what do I not know? Kylie, you put it perfectly. It's like, I'd like to think I know everything, right? I've been in the industry 17 years. So there's I've been doing 17 years. So it's again, not my first day either, but you have to ask yourself, what do I know well? And what do I not know? Because if you get on the phone, which these national media people are doing at a moment's notice, you have to be clear about what you don't know instead of trying to make it up on the fly or be too generic about it. Instead, what you need to think about is what are the areas that might be a little bit tougher for me, and who can I offer to these members of the media? And so I'll tell you my two things: insurance and legal stuff. Cannot do it. Like, it's not my thing. Okay. I know very little. Exactly. And so we need to make sure that when I'm talking with someone, I was just chatting with someone from Dubai, one of our mutual friends actually, and she's putting out a list of, she's working with Reuters, and it's like, well, what do I cover? What do I not? And I said, give them a bullet point if there are a few things that you don't want them to dive into, and then try and offer somebody who can do that. So those are the things you need to be thinking about right now. You know, if I may say too, we had someone jump in and say, hey, can you talk about destination weddings for a second? So if I may speak to that, on the destination wedding side, you really, you know, your message should be more, it should be all education right now. And the fact of the matter is, I mean, I could be wrong in this, but travel insurance, if it's the cancel anytime stuff, has been a lot kinder to people than the, you know, insurances that are not covering us right now. So I would be a solutions person right now. What are the solutions coming up? What are people doing? Maybe they're still getting married, but they're live streaming. Are they stuck in Italy with you guys? Go get married, do live stream it. No, I don't mean to make light of it, but it's like, what are the solution that you can share right now that would serve the greater good? That's what we're looking for right now. And listen, guys, anyone in destinations, I know you have extra factors right now. So anything you can be doing to serve as a resource to help people truly understand what their solutions could be that would be good for all, it's going to be in your best interest.
I think that's really quite key as well, because I think there's a very fine line between, especially as we're talking about PR and how we can promote ourselves within a time of challenge like this, there's a fine line between touting yourself with flagrant regard for the fact that this is a crisis and people are really challenged right now, and being a helpful resource. So it's not about selling yourself at the moment. It is about placing yourself as the expert, putting yourself out there to be helpful, to support people, to show that, you know what, as Zoe said, life goes on. Yes. This isn't something that's going to stop us ever getting married again in the future. Yes, it's going to be challenging, but our role, I think, with any of the couples that are out there right now is a supportive one, not one where we're trying to bang our own drum and have our own agenda. Of course, we've got an agenda behind us. We all have. But I think ultimately you've got to be very careful about how you put that messaging across. So I think what would be really great is if you can give any tips in the types of messaging that you put out there during a crisis.
Sure.
It's hard. And I know we won't mention any names, but I know on a certain Facebook Live you did a couple of days ago that somebody sent out something they shouldn't have done with a certain discount code. So you have to be really, really careful about how you're putting your message out. How
you do. Here's the thing. Here's my message right now. Are you ready, Kylie? Don't hire me. Like, that's literally my message, which hey, like, what is that? I know. I'm saying don't hire me. Like, use this PR stuff and do it yourself, which I know sounds crazy. And don't get me wrong. There are people who are going to hire. Like, I know that. But like, my goal is to reach to the masses and say, listen, if you're a small business who's not being represented, you know, don't like, here's what you need to do. And I would hope you guys are inspired by that as well. I know that sounds kind of crazy right now, but if you can be of that service heart right now, I mean, that's a joke. Like, they are going to come back and hire you. That's the thing, but it's having that service heart. And so in terms of the tips, it's give away your information. You guys are, you're experts in your field. Give it away. Don't charge it. Don't charge, to your point. Don't set up any sort of like, hey, for $50, you can pick my brain. Like, this is not the time for that. That's what I mean by that. You know what I mean? I was like, hey, if you want to hire me, but it's more about be freeing, like, be freely giving of your information. Now is not the time to push. If you have a book, now's not the time to discount and send it out the door. Instead, what you want to do is to be able to create these tips. So some of the talking points to your question as well is, if you are a destination wedding, right, person, then you want to focus on, how do I navigate postponing? That's what you should be talking about. How do you get with your insurance people? How do you live stream if you choose to continue and earn a position to do so? What are your options and then for more the wider things, what are your options for communicating postponement to your guests? Like, see, it's all along that line of, this is going to happen. Let's talk about solving the challenges you have at a moment's notice. How do you stay calm? I know this sounds a little silly, but like, what are some, like, getting married next year and a little bit of a panic? What are some fun wedding planning things you can't go to your tasting right now, but what are some fun things? What are some DIY projects you can be doing right now? Like, have a little bit of levity with it. Yeah.
I think it's really important too, because everything feels like it's doom and gloom. This morning I decided to count up. I don't know why. And it's not because I'm bored and have too much time on my hands. Trust me, I don't. But I decided to see just how many COVID-19 emails I'd had come into my inbox.
Yeah.
And it had got to 127 in the space of 48 hours.
I bet you and I should have a contest.
Right. It's like, exactly as you're saying, you want to have some fun with it as well. It doesn't have to be all doom and gloom, because actually you'll be the person that stands out over and above everybody else, rather than being the voice of doom. Being really helpful, providing solutions, offering ideas of things you could be doing. Like you say, how can you manage the expectations of your guests, and how are you going to get your message out there? The fact that you've got to cancel, etc. But can you think of any fun things you can put in there as well to lighten the mood and be that person that is not only helpful, but actually is really lightening things up as well? Because we've got enough doom and gloom from the various different governments. I mean,
absolutely.
I'm under house arrest right now, practically, in France here. We're not allowed to leave our houses. So, we've joined the ranks of Spain and Italy, who have been doing it for, I think, over a week now. We have to have permission slips to even go out and walk the dog at the moment. So you really want to be trying to lighten things, but as you said, it's about being really helpful. It's about providing solutions. It's about giving value, but over and above all else, it's not about banging your own drum and being all about you. It's about how you can really make other people feel good.
Might I add as well, to your point, I do agree with, trying to lighten it, where you're kind of giving that give the pertinent information, but if there's ways you can lighten it. And when you're giving the lighter information, then you need to make sure that you also recognize we're going through a dumpster fire right now. It's like, I have to be careful with my content right now, because we got picked up by Martha Stewart Living this week twice, but but it's about thank you. But it's about drying flowers. And it's just like, okay, where's a place where we can share this? But no, you just got to be careful with it. So as long as we're recognizing, hey, we're going to be light for a second, because there's a lot of great information out there. If I was a wedding pro today, pitching and putting things out there, I would first focus on how you can solve everyone's problems now. And I would move quickly over to some lighter stuff, while also linking back maybe to the ways I've helped with that. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that's probably a really key part of it here. And I just want to dive into the comments here, because Magdalena's asked a question.
Yeah, there's some good ones.
Yeah. What about these new businesses, people who are just starting out right now, about to get their first clients? It's hard to position yourself as an expert with little or no experience under your belt. What kind of message can you send here? First thing I would just say, before I hand this one over to you, Meghan, is nobody else but you knows how much experience you've got. So sure. First of all, you need to get off of that soapbox, because whether or not you're new is irrelevant. You can still be giving good advice. You can still be a problem solver. There's things that I talk about which I'm not an expert in, but I'm able to provide solutions in because I'm a creative thinker and I can think my way around problems. But I might not be an expert, let's say, for example, in time management, but I've got some great tips and advice I can give you and help you with, but I'm not an expert on it. So I think that's really important to remember, is just because you're new in business doesn't mean you can't give value and you don't have something to add to the conversation. Meghan, what would you add to that?
No, I think I won't add much because you are correct with absolutely. I think, Magdalena, the big thing is to make sure you know your limits right now. And the fact of the matter is, and me putting on my honest hat right now, you are, and I agree with Kylie, but you will have limitations versus someone who's been through, a flooding and things like that. So maybe PR is a smaller portion of what you do, and then you go on to focus on other things, which is why Kylie has so many great speakers coming. We've got a cash flow person, we've got a social media person. So you may find that your strategy, like for me, I'm doing PR 99% of the time, and then 1% of the time I'm sleeping. Like that's what I'm doing right now. But not everybody's going to have that ratio. So if you find that you have some limitations, you take it to the point that you can. And again, no one's going to say, how long have you been in business? But then when you get to a point where you feel your limit, then you look to marketing, you look at content making and SEO and things like that.
And you look to other people. So one of the things that I did when I was putting together this summit, we are one of the leading education companies for the wedding industry. So I felt it was my duty really to put something together that was going to help people. But like I said at the very beginning of this, I am not an expert. I like to think I am, but I'm not an expert on everything, which is why I've brought in all these different speakers who are experts. So when you're new, don't be afraid to reach out to other people, because there's so much to be gained by being part of a team of experts who together can give great advice. And you might do it obviously in a different way to what I've done it, but I have reached out to all these various experts to give you what we believe can be really helpful information during these challenging times. But what if you were to get together, for example, with a team of vendors that you normally work with? A lot of us, when we're working professionals, have what we call our dream team. So maybe you could get together and do something really similar to what I'm doing here, but as part of a team where you can all speak to different aspects and stream that into your various groups on your various pages. And really, it's another and slightly more creative way of putting yourself out there from a PR perspective.
Absolutely. And I know we're here mainly to talk PR, but Kylie, I'm sure you would agree with me, of course, that this is for someone who's newer to the business and you're kind of at a little bit of a standstill. Now is the time, and I hope this comes out right, but now is the time to work on your business. I think of myself 11 years ago, right? And I just got started. And of course, I would have a different set of, I wouldn't have a 6-year-old I'm trying to homeschool, first of all, even though I love it, be trying to homeschool my cats. But this is the time to dig into all the free, when I sit here and say, Meghan Neely's telling you, do your own PR. I am one of many people giving free or very low cost advice right now. I would just be a sponge taking it all in right now and taking advantage.
Oh, definitely. I totally agree with you. And even for people who are well established, if you're finding yourself with a severe lack of weddings over the next, however long, because we don't know how long it's going to be, then once you've put out those fires, you've dealt with your challenges and you're on a more even keel and you're finding yourself with actually a lot less to do and potentially not actually, like me, allowed to go out anywhere, then use this time. We are always, all of us, me included, always whining about how time poor we are, all of us.
Yes.
So this will actually give you some time to work on your business rather than in your business. And I think that's a really important thing. And I'm certainly not making light of the challenges that lie ahead for everybody. Of course. But once you've put those fires out, there is going to become a point where you actually can't do much else. You've put the fires out. You don't have the weddings on at the moment. You can't potentially leave your house. So what do? This is the time when you really sit down, you put your goals in place, you put timelines in, you start to study, you research different things. And one of the things that I'm going to be doing over the next day or so and sharing with you all is, last month, I put together a social media content challenge. It was how to create 30 days of content in just 3 days. Now, I'm going to put that out there again for you guys to just enjoy. There is, as we've discussed, there isn't a cost to it. This is just something that I'm going to release out there for you to use when and as you've got the time, because I guarantee you that over the next month or so, you're probably going to find yourself with some time on your hands.
Absolutely.
And I think any of us that can offer this type of thing, this is what we should be doing. This is how you should be spending your time. The International Wedding Trend Report is another free resource. Meghan works with me on this. It is huge. It's about 100 pages long.
Plenty of time to read it.
You know, you've got time to do these things that you didn't think you had time to do. Start looking outside of the industry to other places for inspiration on how they do things, how they're managing things. You know, use this time for research. Sylvia's saying, could I offer phone research services, find new venue, contact local vendors to persuade couples to marry in my area?
That's very smart.
That's really creative. I think it's a brilliant idea.
That's what we're doing. You've got to look. And let me add one thing, and then I'd love to get it, because somebody asked on here, I've been kind of going through these really thoughtful questions. Like, they were talking about reducing costs. Now, I know I'm not the expert, so when Michelle comes on and does, but this kind of, if you don't mind me doing a quick shout out for one of our friends, Michelle's coming on here, right? Sage Wedding Pros coming up. Michelle set up a cash flow plan class, and it was before this all happened, so there is a very reduced rate for it, but like, that's what I would sign up for. If I would sign up for a cash flow plan, and I would just sit there and do all my numbers. So it felt it was a relevant shout out, since someone asking here, how do I reduce costs? Well, everyone's different. You know, I reduce maybe bringing my team to conferences. I'm looking at payroll and staff. Like, obviously I want to keep everybody, but like, how can I be creative? But if I may, since we're talking about it, I'll make sure you get a link, Kylie. But guys, that's what I wouldn't hesitate in a second. Sign up for her cash flow class and like get on that.
Michelle is brilliant. She has been running Sage Wedding Pros. I don't want to guess how many years, but it's got to be over a decade
11.
now.
She just had it. Celebrated her 11.
Yeah,
11. We can say
she's been around all the time, and she's brilliant. And she'll be on here on the summit on Monday, so you will get to hear all of her tips and all of
absolutely.
Her
so, but yeah, when people are talking about like, what do you do? I'm just like, oh man, just set up your cash flow, and like, I'll put it in the comments here somewhere so you guys can have it. But you also let me see what we're talking about. Oh, creative too. So we're talking about the idea of Sylvia. You talk about the idea of like coming up with these services. I think it's wonderful. We look to the caterers right now, right? The caterers are amazing, and they're going through some really hard times, and they're doing like takeouts and pickups and all this. So think with that mindset, and from a PR perspective, which is what we're really, I know here to talk about, is if you're offering something unique, that's a pitchable story. Now, let me be clear. If Sylvia, I'm going to use you as an example, I hope you don't mind, Sylvia comes up with this great, idea, more than likely you pushing that out as a story itself may not get picked up, because there is a little bit of I say self-serving because it's like promoting your services, but what if you pitch the idea in your local market of wedding and event pros are banding together? They are banding together, and they're creating all these, like, get with some of your fellow professionals and say, what are you doing? What are you helping? Are there free classes people are offering? Are there Facebook live streams? Like, what are people doing right now? Like, that's what I would pitch, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. And I think it is about being creative, and just going back to what you were talking about cash flow. And I certainly don't want to steal Michelle's thunder.
No, because she's my cash flow lady. So I don't know enough about that.
Something I do whenever times are hard, and trust me, having been in business for as long as I have, there have been some ups and downs over the times. One of the best things you can do is look at all those little tiny memberships that you have. And I'm not just talking about gym memberships, but I'm talking about things like software memberships. They add up, it's $10 here and $20 here, and it's $49.99 a month for this. If there's things that are not directly bringing you in clients and are not going to affect you right now, those are the things I would be canceling immediately. If you are members of any, and I'm sorry for these online membership companies, but if you are members of those types of things and it's not something you need right now, these are the little things you can be doing with your cash flow to really reduce those outgoings. But obviously don't do anything that's going to affect the running of your business. If you use Aisle Planner, for example, within your business, now is not the time to be cancelling Aisle Planner. You still need it. But doing an audit of your bank statement is one of the best things you can do. I did it about 6 months ago, and I actually, get this, was spending nearly $500 per month that I should not have been spending. So in these quiet times, it is the perfect time to do an audit of what you're spending. But I won't go into that anymore because
let Michelle, we'll have her jump in on that.
To do that. I'm going to wrap it up now because I think we've covered all of the PR questions. Unless anyone else has got any burning questions for Meghan whilst we're on live, you do know that you can comment on these videos within, as you know, we are streaming to YouTube, on our Facebook page, within some of our groups. And for any of you that have read any of our emails, you just need to go to the Academy website, and there on the top menu is a page that says Online Summit COVID-19. I will be uploading the live links to all of these videos as we do them to that page. So if you can't find them anywhere, all you need to do is head to the Academy website, and within an hour of each video going live, I will have uploaded the link and updated it on that page so all the videos are together. And we really do have an amazing range of speakers, don't we, Meghan?
Absolutely. I'm so excited. And if I may add one thing kind of in a positive sort of closing here, is that, I'm talking a lot about what do you do in PR and crisis right now, but I'd be really misunderstanding, like you and I both agree, and I think we passionately agree that we will all continue on, right? We will all come through the other side of this. So if for those who they've hit their limit with the COVID, like I've done all I can on it. Think of your PR that's going to come in handy after this. So if you are in a position to submit your real weddings, if you are in a position to write planning articles, I mean, the fact of the matter is Splendid Insights is a wonderful site where she has all sorts of great information about couples and statistics. And what we hear is over 70% of couples say there's not enough real wedding features. There's not enough planning articles. So how can you lend to those conversations? Like take time now. I mean, if you have the time, if you aren't, it depends on, I know there's only many hours in the day, but don't stop doing that because people are getting engaged. People are, amid all this, they're getting engaged. They are going to be planning. They want your content. So don't lose momentum on that. That's going to be so important.
It is important. And don't lose sight of the fact that this feels like it's massive at the moment, but in reality, it's only going to be a very small portion of time. It does seem like it's the worst thing in the world at the moment. And we're all sitting here thinking, God, am I going to have a business in 3 months? But of course we are. This is only going to go on for a certain period of time. Countries are shutting their doors. Everyone's being told to stay inside. This thing will get sorted out. So use this time wisely. And that's excellent advice that Meghan has just given you there. The website that she's talking about is Splendid Insights. It's run by Lynn Stevens, and she has some great statistics there.
Good.
But if that is a statistic that 70% of couples are saying that there aren't enough planning articles out there and there's not enough real weddings being showcased, then there is a fabulous opportunity for you from a PR point of view.
Absolutely.
So, on that note, I am back in, oh my goodness, about 90 minutes with my next guest, who is Leah from, my mind's gone completely.
Color Pop Events. I got it, girl.
Yeah, that's the one. And she's going to be talking about how you can give your clients advice, how to manage the psychology of all of this, advice you can give your clients, and really helping them to stay calm, manage everything moving forward. So she's going to have some great advice to share with us, and I'm excited to do that with her in about 90 minutes time. We will be streaming from exactly the same platforms. So thank you very much, Meghan. Thank you for being the first guest, and more than that, thank you for helping me to put this together. It's crazy 48 hours, but we've done it. So where there's a will, there's a way, always. So thank you once again, and thank you guys for joining in and chatting in the comments. It's always good to hear from you. I'm in France on lockdown. Meghan's in her son's playroom, so we've all got challenges of our own going on at the moment.
Anyone need any Legos?
There you go. You know what she does in her spare time, really, don't we? She doesn't really do PR.
I'm a Lego master.
All right. Well, I will see you guys in about 90 minutes, and thank you very much for joining us.
Absolutely. Take care of yourselves, everyone.